Hey everybody, Mike Weaver here with Gerald Jones Audi and Volkswagen in Augusta, Georgia, and today I'm going to go over how to negotiate a car deal. So just before we get started, a little history about why I'm doing this video. I mean, most people, it's pretty obvious most people don't know how to negotiate a car deal. It's no one's fault. No one was ever taught how to do this. Most people's parents don't really know how to do this either. But I want to go through how to do this just so when you go into a car deal, one, just to give you a little background, if you're going to go buy a car, you need to know what car you're going to buy and what car you need to be looking for before you even get to the dealership. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The main one being, if you don't know why you're at the dealership to buy a car, the salesman has the ability to sell you whatever he wants. Not necessarily what's in your best interest, but whatever is best in his or hers. So let me just go through, before you go to a dealership, you need to know what kind of car you're looking at. There's enough information available online to where you should have a pretty good idea of what you're looking for. This one is a 2018 Audi A5. It's the new 2-liter convertible quattro, and this is a prestige model, which is the fully loaded version. So just walking through the numbers here, this is what's called the first pencil. Whenever you go to a dealership and your salesman goes to the desk to get numbers from the manager, this is what he's going to come back with, or some version of this. The MSRP that you see right here, stands for the market suggested retail value. And so that's essentially what the car is worth according to the internet. So that essentially just means that's what the car is worth. Your first place finish, this is something that our dealership adds in, as well as nitrogen. You'll see in luxury brands, they put nitrogen in the tires just because it's more stable than air. So sometimes these cars can sit for 7, 8, sometimes even a year. So when cars sit that long, you don't want the tire pressure sensors constantly going off, especially if you're somewhere where the temperature is going to change. The first place finish, that's something that our dealership adds in. Probably you're not going to have to worry about that depending on where you go. But however, so the way that you want to negotiate a car deal is you want to go through each one of these one line at a time. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. The first place finish, any options that they add on to the MSRP, aside from options on the car itself, if a dealership adds those options on, like first place finish and nitrogen and tires, you can get them taken off. And you need to make sure that you get them taken off, because that's money. This is $900 that you can save by getting those taken off. So first thing we're gonna do is get those items taken off of our price. The next thing we're gonna do is come down to the price of the vehicle. Now, the price of the vehicle, as you see here, this $63,444, that price is with these two options added in. So once you've had those options taken out, you're still left with the original MSRP, which is this number right here. And that's the next number that you want to negotiate. So I'm going to tell you right now, luxury brands have about 6% markup in the MSRP of the car and then 6% markup, so what the dealership's trying to sell it for. So that's the next thing you're going to want to negotiate. Now understand with that 6%, and especially in luxury brands, American cars and Nissan and some of the Japanese ones, they're a little different. They've got higher markups because they can. But these luxury brands, if you're going to go buy one, you're going to pay pretty close to the MSRP on the car. And that's just because, these dealerships don't have these enormous markups in these luxury brands, depending on the dealership, of course, but at least ours doesn't. Neither do the other local ones around Augusta. Tax, title, and fees is going to be different depending on which state you're in. We're in the state of Georgia, and Georgia has a 7% sales tax. So taxes here are going to be pretty high no matter what car you buy. Now, if you're in South Carolina, which is right next door to Augusta, they are lucky. They only have $300 tax. It's insane. But once you've had the taxes in, that brings you down to the delivered price of the car. Now the delivered price, of course, is these options added in. The delivered price, so we're at $68,410.66 here. Of course, you can now what you want to do is negotiate one line at a time. So first thing you're going to want to do, once you've gotten the first place finish out, the nitrogen out. You're not going to be able to do anything about taxes because that's not up to the dealership, that's according to the state. The delivered price of the car, you can typically negotiate a few hundred depending on what kind of car you're looking at. And then these etching and the synchronize, most dealerships are not going to factor that in because these are options that our dealership adds in, so you can cross those out. So that pretty much leaves you with the $68,410. Assuming that you're going to pay that price, these are the 3 different buying options that you're going to see in any dealership. Well, not any dealership, at least with Audi. Your retail option, this option is going to be a straight purchase. If you just want to purchase the car, that's what you're going to be. That's that option right there. The lease option, I'll be honest with you, this is how the majority of car salesmen and people in the car industry buy their cars, and there's a good reason for that. I know leasing has a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths, probably because your parents taught it to you. You probably couldn't even tell me why you think leasing is a bad option. And most people who do tell me why, they're like, well, I want to own my car. Well, you don't own your car even when you purchase a car through the retail option because you're making a payment to the bank every single month. Unless you buy the car outright cash, which is the best option you have, period. If you can purchase the car cash, do it. If you can't, don't work, then either one of these is then leasing or balloon is going to be a better option for you. But if you're making payments every single month, you don't own the car, the bank does. And if you purchase the car, you also purchase the depreciation that's going to come along with it if you were to get into an accident. Another thing with purchasing a car, understand a car is a depreciating asset. The second you buy that car and drive it off the lot, it's going to lose value. The longer you own it, the more value it's going to lose. And that does not necessarily mean that the amount that you owe is going to equate to the value that car is worth. Say you owe $50,000 on your car, it might only be worth $35,000. And if that's the case, you have what's called negative equity, and you have to factor that in whenever you want to trade out of the car. Or if you're unfortunate and you total it, or someone totals your car, your insurance company is not going to pay out the amount that you owe. They're going to pay you what the car is worth. And that brings me to another point. If your insurance company does that and you still owe that $15,000, so say you own a car for $35,000, it's worth $35,000, you owe $50,000. Your insurance company is only going to pay you $35,000. You still owe that $15,000, and you're going to have to write a check for that at some point. That's why we recommend doing lease and balloon options. Plus, there is this thing called gap insurance. If you know what gap insurance is, great. If not, gap insurance is exactly what it sounds like. It covers the gap between what you owe on your car and what the insurance company values your car to be if it were to be totaled out. Now, the benefit with leases and balloon options, I'll start with the lease. The lease works this way. Your cap reduction is the same thing as a down payment. And a down payment essentially is just the money that you're going to pay out of pocket to purchase the car. Now, if you're going to lease and you have the credit that allows you to not put any money down, don't put any money down. It doesn't make any sense. Now, you can do a lease for shorter than 36 months, but typically the longest you're going to see is 48. And this is just how long you're going to own the car for. So once we've gone through the down payments, and this is called a term. We've gone through the terms, and these are your monthly payments depending on, and you can see it's just a grid. Now, the annual miles, typically with a lease, if you don't know your annual mileage, just figure out what the miles was when you purchased your car, and then divide it or subtract it from where you're at now and divide that by how long you've owned the car. That'll tell you how many miles you drive per year. So this one is a 12,000 mile a year lease. You can do one with 15, you can do it with 12, you can do it with 10, 8. It just depends on your situation, how much you drive. The residual is what the dealership estimates your car is going to be worth at the end of the term. Now, I'm going to tell you this. If you lease a car and you plan on buying it afterwards, don't do that, because the residual is always going to be higher than what the car is worth. The huge benefit of this is if you say you're driving a car and you have a 36 months lease. If someone drives into the back of your car, there's nothing you can do about it. They're going to cause damage to that car, which is going to depreciate the value of the car, because that incident's going to go on your Carfax report. If you own the car and you tried to go resell it, no one is going to give you what that car is actually worth, nor do people actually want to buy it, because the car has a damaged Carfax, and that's going to show up. That's going to hurt your car's value. If you lease it, or if you do this balloon option, which I'll get to in a minute, you don't own the depreciation that comes with that car. You can trade the car in at the end of that 36-month term, and the dealership is the one who's going to deal with it, not you. That's your benefit. The balloon option is the next one down. The balloon option is, I'm going to explain it as simply as I can. The balloon option is essentially a lease. As you can see, you get the same number of miles. The residual value, or what the dealership estimates to be the car is going to be worth, is the same as in the lease. The major difference typically comes in the payments. In this one, they're actually pretty similar. In some cases, they're drastically different. The other difference is the way that this loan is structured versus this loan. This loan is called a simple interest loan. All that means is that if you wanted to pay in advance, one, there's no penalty for doing that. Two, if you wanted to just purchase the car for 42 months and just pay in advance, you could do that with this balloon option. You could not do that with a lease. Another benefit is when you do the balloon option, you do not have to make a payment in the finance office when you first purchase a car or when you turn the car in. A lease, you're going to have to make a payment when you purchase that car before you leave the finance office and when you turn the car in. But as you can see with the balloon option, you could do less than 36 months all the way up to 48 months. And you could do the same number of miles you could in a lease. You could do 12,000, 15,000, 8, 10, whatever your situation requires. But I hope this video was helpful. Like and comment this video, tag your friends, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.